fathom line, fathom line, fathom line, fathom line, fathomable, 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 fathometer, 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 fatling, 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 amniotic fluid, amniotic fluid, amniotic fluid, amniotic fluid, fatten, 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 fattening capacity, fattening capacity, fattening capacity, fattening capacity, fattening range, fattening range, fattening range, fattening range, fattish, 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 fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty clay, fatty clay, fatty clay, fatty clay, fatty foods, fatty foods, fatty foods, fatty foods, fatty heart, fatty heart, fatty heart, fatty heart, fatty tissue, fatty tissue, fatty tissue, fatty tissue, amniotic sac, amniotic sac, amniotic sac, amniotic sac, fatty, 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 fatuous, 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 fatuously, 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 forces, 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 faucet, 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 for, fault finding, fault finding, fault finding, fault finding, fault line, fault line, fault line, fault line, fault plane, fault plane, fault plane, fault plane, amniotic, 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 fault scarp, fault scarp, fault scarp, fault scarp, fault time, fault time, fault time, fault time, fault zone, fault zone, fault zone, fault zone, faulted structure, faulted structure, faulted structure, faulted structure, faulted, 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 fault finder, fault finder, fault finder, fault finder, faultless, 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 faultlessness, 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 amoeba, 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 faulty workmanship, faulty workmanship, faulty workmanship, faulty workmanship, fauna, 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 faunal, 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 father, 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 favor, 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 favor tariff, favor tariff, favor tariff, favor tariff, amoebic dysentery, amoebic dysentery, amoebic dysentery, amoebic dysentery, favorable reply, favorable reply, favorable reply, favorable reply, favis, 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 fawn, 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 fax machine, fax machine, fax machine, fax machine, fax, 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 fay, 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 amoebic, 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 firelight, 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 fealty, 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 fearful, 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 fear of God, fear of God, fear of God, fear of God, fearless, 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 fearlessly, 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 fernaut, 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 emock, 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 fearsome, 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 feasibility study, feasibility study, feasibility study, feasibility study, feasibility, 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 feast one's eyes, feast one's eyes, feast one's eyes, feast one's eyes, feet of arms, feet of arms, feet of arms, feet of arms, feather bed, feather bed, feather bed, feather bed, feather bedding, feather bedding, feather bedding, feather bedding, imomum, 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 feather in one's cap, feather in one's cap, feather in one's cap, feather in one's cap, feather key, feather key, feather key, feather key, feather, 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 featherbed, 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 featherbrained, 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 feathercut, 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 feathered, 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 featherage, 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 feathering, 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 featherless, 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 featherstitch, 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 feathery, 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 feature film, feature film, feature film, feature film, featureless, 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 febrifuge, 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 febrile, 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 February, 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 feces, 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 fecular, 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 feculence, 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 feculent, 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 fecundation, 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 fed up, fed up, fed up, fed up, amoral, 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 fed, 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 fedine, 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 federal court, federal court, federal court, federal court, federal taxes, federal taxes, federal taxes, federal taxes, federal union, federal union, federal union, federal union, federal, 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 federalism, 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 federalist, 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 federalize, 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 amorality, 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 federation, 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 federative, 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 fedora, 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 fear waiter, fear waiter, fear waiter, fear waiter, fee damages, fee damages, fee damages, fee damages, feeble-minded, 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 feebleness, 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 feed cable, feed cable, feed cable, feed cable, amorous, 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 feed consumption, feed consumption, feed consumption, feed consumption, feed grinder, feed grinder, feed grinder, feed grinder, feed hopper, feed hopper, feed hopper, feed hopper, feed pipe, feed pipe, feed pipe, feed pipe, feed pump, feed pump, feed pump, feed pump, feed stuff, feed stuff, feed stuff, feed stuff, feed tank, feed tank, feed tank, feed tank, feed water, feed water, feed water, feed water, amorously, 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 feedback circuit, feedback circuit, feedback circuit, feedback circuit, feeder cable, feeder cable, feeder cable, feeder cable, feeding bottle, feeding bottle, feeding bottle, feeding bottle, feeding canal, feeding canal, feeding canal, feeding canal, feeding funnel, feeding funnel, feeding funnel, feeding funnel,